Hello and welcome to MOLAA's 2020 Dia de los Muertos Festival. My name is Solimar Salas, Vice President of the Museum Content and Programming Department. And on behalf of the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach, California, I'd like to thank you for joining us today as we learn more about this special tradition and give you a taste of Dia de los Muertos. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the event sponsors that made it possible to make this two-week event free of charge. Here's a brief welcome from our presenting sponsor, Hyundai.
Welcome to the 2020 Day of the Dead virtual celebration presented by Hyundai. We are thrilled to be a sponsor for this great event. We hope that you enjoy the beautiful traditions that make this annual celebration so special. Have a great day.
We've also received support from the Kenneth T. and Eileen L. Norris Foundation, the Bess J. Hodges Foundation, the Arts Council for Long Beach, Robert Gumbiner Foundation, and the City of Long Beach. Today, we have a special edition of MOLAA's Zoom Project, a curatorial initiative led by our Chief Curator, Gabriela Urtiaga. She will be interviewing artist Tania Candiani from Mexico City. Candiani works in a variety of media and practices at the crossroads of different language systems, including phonic, graphic, linguistic, symbolic, and technological. The translation across distinct systems of representation is essential in the creation of her work. She received a Guggenheim Fellowship for the Arts in 2011, a National System of Art Creators in Mexico Fellowship in 2012 to 2014, and 2017 to 2019, and an Artist Research Fellowship from the Smithsonian Institution in 2018. Candiani represented Mexico in the 56th International Venice Biennial in 2015. Her work has been exhibited in museums, institutions, and independent spaces around the world and is part of important public and private collections, including the Museum of Latin American Art in Los Angeles, California, San Diego Museum of Art in San Diego, among many others. Please enjoy the program, and I leave you now with Gabriela Urtiaga, MOLAA's Chief Curator.
Thank you, Solimar. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to MOLAA. I hope you are well and safe, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am Gabriela Urtiaga, the Chief Curator at the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach, California. We are so excited to present to all of you our second Zoom project, chapter number 2, featuring the great and multidisciplinary artist, Tania Candiani. Let me explain to you about MOLAA Zoom Project. It's an invitation to explore the work of some of the most influential and inspiring artists from Latin America and Latinx in the US. In each chapter, in conversation with the artist and myself, we please to put the focus in a series or a specific artwork which require a close inspection and deliberate process of contemplation and exploration, delving into the ideas surrounding the creation of the works, their source of research and inspiration, and in an effort to immerse ourselves in the works of every artist. In chapter number 2, we will explore the importance of rituals and the continuity of the root of ancient and still present indigenous community through their tradition, exploring and researching the ideas in the past and the present with the hand of the remarkable Mexican artist Tania Candiani, who redefines the idea and knowledge about a language, dance, body in the contemporary art scene. Is for that, today we are going to do an amazing trip to Tania's home in Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico City. We will enjoy this conversation with Tania. And Tania, how are you? Thank you so much for this meeting. Thank you for opening up your studio to MOLAA and our audience. We are so pleased to having you with us today.
Thank you, Gabriela, Linda. I'm so happy to be here. I really like how you said, like, we're gonna have this incredible travel to Tania Candiani Mexico studio, because it's amazing that we really are, you are really here in my studio with all the audience. So thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be part of this series of event and celebration, and especially in this day. So yes.
And how are you, Tania? How have you feel during this strange time? Because you live and work in the same place, right? And I can imagine that you are working a lot, but at the same time, you need to postpone a lot of projects because of your field study.
Yeah, well, it has been difficult, and it's just very strange the way it have been all these months have been like a fortune wheel. Like it has a lot of top moments and down moments. There's a lot of work. I'm happy to say this, that there's a lot of projects that are still running on, and there's so many things happening that it just absorbed my time. I feel super lucky that because we live in a very large house where our studios are, so we can just be here and work without a stop, which is good, but as well has some kind of abuse, self-abuse about the time that I give to my work. So I have to force myself to shut off the computer and do something else, like taking care of my garden, which is great that as well is here. But and understanding new ways of creating relationship. It's just like it has been struggle, but we are trying to find the way to survive and find creative ways of new languages or new closer relations. No,
of course.
Yes.
Yes, it's true, and it's for that, Tania, I would like to invite you to start our conversation about Reverencia, the Penacho series, a poetic and innovative artwork, a video installation that you created in 2019, a work around the Danza de los Quetzales. And can you tell us about your creative process in this particular piece and your approach and connection with the community of the artisan?
Yes, of course. Well, I would like to make an introduction first of the piece itself. It is based, as you mentioned it, in the reinterpretation of the movements of the Danza de los Quetzales. Quetzales is the name of a bird, and there's some theories which says that the penachos, I mean the headdresses, and the name of the dance came from the name of the bird, but there's another points of view. But the thing is, like, in my piece, I propose the synthesis of the movements of this particular dance. And as well, I change the chromatic elements of the plumes, the feathers, sorry, eliminating the bright colors and the movements, which are very festive from the dance, to focus in the meaning of a symbolic duality. So Danza de los Quetzales is one of the few dances that survive, like, more pure from the evangelization crusade. And it's still dance in the region of Nahua Totonaca region in Mexico, which is between the state of Puebla and Veracruz, where I found the artisan that I work with. During the colony, of course, the Spanish tried to forbid the representation of this dance, but they did not manage to remove the ritual character of the dance. Now, in present times, the dance is performed as a spectacle, for example, in fiestas, in little towns, in special celebrations. but in the past it was performed exclusively for symbolic manners, like for us to divine favors to the gods, like good harvesting, well-rained season. And so for that, the dancers greets to the four directions, the four winds, in order to ask the elements to protect them. It's very solemn. It is a ritual itself, and it's performed in parallel lines, and the dancers make these little brinquitos, like little hoops, while they'll dance, accompanied by live played music, like with a little drum and a flute. So I arrived to this piece. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research on Mexican traditional clothing, like an embroidery. I mean, my research comes from the textiles at the beginning, and then I became more and more interested in the choreographic points of view of the dances, and of course the symbolic part. So everything just get together for starting this research. So the first thing I did was to find out who could be the person, the artisan, to create this amazing objects, the penachos. So someone recommended to call the maestro Marcos Anderete, which is very well known in all the state of Puebla because he's the master of the penachos. And they told me, you have to convince him to work with you, because if he doesn't believe in what you are doing, in your honesty of what you want to do, it's going to be very probable that he'll say no. So I called him. They gave me his phone number. I gave him a call, and then he said, okay, you know, I'm going to be performing with a group in this little town near Puebla. So tomorrow, meet me there in the plaza at 11. So we rent a car because we don't have a car here in Mexico City. We rented a car. I went with Enrique Hesik, my partner. So we went there. I had a 10 minutes interview with him because I just have 10 minutes for you. He looks very, very rigorous at the beginning. And he said yes to me. That was the first huge gift that I received from this project.
No, I can imagine. And how was the relationship with the community in sharing your idea of transferring the religious ceremony to another atmosphere, like a contemporary dance, in a totally new language, right?
Yes. Yeah, well, first I didn't have any relation with the community. It was just him. And with him, I connected with the rest of the community, but actually he was the one, he was the door, he was the entrance for welcome or not. And first he didn't understand what exactly I wanted to do. He was like a kind of doubting about me wanting to removing the colors of the penachos. It was a very interesting process because we communicate by the WhatsApp of his son. So I made some very basic sketches using the photos that I shoot from them in the plaza, and changing the colors for the black and white lines that I was picturing in my mind. And I told him that I want to remove all the colors in order to dedicate or attract the attention to two specific things and the movement of bowing. I mean, in a symbolical way, I understood that it was easier for me to express something if I just speak about these two things, which is black and white, and which is a movement of bowing. It was we spent probably 3 weeks or 1 month is what it took him to create the headdresses, the penachos. And I particularly asked to not cover the cones, which are the kind of hats that holds the penacho in the head, to make it plain without any design. And specifically, I didn't want any design because it was adding some other meaning.
Yeah.
And he insisted to do it. And at the end, we visited him the day we pick up the penachos. And one part of the deal was to make a video of them, of the original dancers with their original dresses, for just to have a register of them dancing. And then we record this video. Maybe we can play a fragment of it.
Something happened, right? Where can you tell us where do you start your researching in this exploration? Because you put a focus in some important murals by Diego Rivera, but at the same time you research in the codices. What was your relationship with this material and to transfer your idea and the specific video?
Well, I have a very random, or let's say like a happy encounters way of researching. It's very empiric way. I'm not an academic researcher, and all the time I make connections between visual, imaginary, iconography, and text. So of course, when I get when I put my eye on the Quetzales dance, I look everywhere, and I found this beautiful representation of the penachos in the codices and in many stories.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to find out how in the codices which were drawn by Spanish or by indigenous, directed by Spanish, that representation is still over there, but how it separates culturally and visually separates even though in the garments, of course, no. This one is very beautiful, the one that we are looking at, because they're actually these beautiful penachos. And if you go through the story of the traditional dances in old Mexico, not just the Danza de los Quetzales, it's full of these kind of stories. I mean, what I love about this and what makes me get deeper and more excited about the research, it was the narrative content of each of these dances, because they tell a story, and I love to be a storyteller. So the way I work is doing this process of translation or reinterpretation. I mean, when you're in your last question, when you say how I was dealing with community in terms of explaining them I am doing something else, is because I was not intending to recreate the Danza de los Quetzales in a different way. I'm using the Danza de los Quetzales as point of departure and taking from there some elements to create something completely different, which honors that and also connect with very specific parts of the history, but in other, I mean, I'm trying to name something different, no, something else. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, Tania, I think we are ready to see the complete video that you are talking.
Sorry, I just wanted to show the last photo, because then the last one.
The Amalia Hernandez, the choreographer.
This one, the back. This because when I said that this is the photos from the WhatsApp that I share with the master, trying to explain him what to cover in which color and the other one, and follow the process of building the penacho from a distance was amazing and beautiful. Accompany him during the process, because all the labor process, because it's handmade and it takes a lot of time, and all this weaving was his way of weaving my own story as well. Sorry for interrupting. And yes, let's go and take a look of the video, and maybe we can come back to these other images.
Because it will be very interesting to share with us your idea and your transfer ceremony, right? And well, I think one of the most important topics here that I can see in your contribute to maintain the tradition, no, is that you said revisiting the dance, the music, the clothes, the meanings in a new version, and yes, we will see the Penachos video. So inspiring, Tania. And the main movement of the dance is when the dancer bond to each other, referencing the elements, right? And you remove from the records some movement and aleatory element. Could you share some of this experience with us and talk about the music too?
Yes. Yeah, the music, it's so good that you mentioned it, Gabriela, because it was actually the whole time and cadence of the choreography started from the sound. What we are hearing is the flute and the little drum that was played actually by the same artisan that confectioned the penachos. We record him in his studio, playing both instruments separately. And then originally I was understanding the way of creating the choreography just based on that sound, but it's super energetic. It's just, and I wanted something more precise and slow, like super slow. So I asked Olin Miranda, which is my editor and collaborator of the studio, Olin, let's speed it down 5 times. And it's what we are hearing. So that in that moment, I just hear it and hear the beat, and that beat, it corresponds perfectly of what I had in mind. So once I had the sound, I had a meeting with Francisco Rojas, which is he's a dancer from the Convexus Dance Company. He's the taller dancer in the video. And with him, I told him about the project. I convinced him to be part of it. He was very happy to be part of it. And I showed him a series of drawings that I made based on following the movements of the dance in a video, in a YouTube video. So with all the turns and the bowings. And then I cleaned the drawing, let's say, to just put more attention in the lines that the dancers create between their own bodies and of course between the penachos. What is very amazing for me to watch was the possibility of the movement that the transposition of both penachos create. It's like a kinetic movement. So once we decided that it was a good way to go, we rented this studio where we record the thing, and he just make an interpretation of my drawings in this series of movements, which are very close to the Buto dance, of course, because it's just very, very slowly way of moving. And it was beautiful to watch how they get used to wear this thing that impossibilita, how do you say, impossibilita? Well, makes impossible for you to turn your head without consequences, because you have this 2 meters diameter thing on your head, and each movement repercutes in the whole thing. So it is very light to wear, but it hurts a bit. So they practice it, and they had to tune their own breath and probably the heart beating, both dancers, in order to move in this kind of parallel lines. Yeah. So it was a process of knowing themselves, just like creating a two organism, but in certain moment it works as a one only body. Yeah. So it was very interesting in terms of dance. And I'm not a dancer, I'm not a choreographer either, but in this very, again, I said again, this word, which is empiric way which is the way I like to research, and this very empiric and fresh way of understanding the body, no?
Yes, no, and it's beautiful because again you are mixing a different language, but also an universal language, because you are linking the tradition with the contemporary imaginary, but the roots continue to be there. And for me, it's important to put the focus again in the geometric and abstract form that you create in the dialogue of the penachos.
Yes. Yeah, and that has a point of departure in another work, which is connected with textiles. The work is called Huipiles, this one that we're watching now in the presentation. And Huipiles was as well a fortunate encounter in some monographic notebooks about handcrafts in Mexico, in a very cheap format. It was a very cheap little books that was published by Fonart, which is the Tourism and Art Foundation or something. They comes from the 60s, and there I found these very simple illustrations in black and white of a group of 5 huipiles from different regions. Huipiles is this garment, a traditional garment that is used in different regions in Mexico. Yeah. Oh my God, sorry.
Don't worry.
Oh my God, sorry. Oh my God, sorry.
No.
I don't know why my phone is connected in the computer, I'm sorry. What I saw was the synthesis of the very intricate textiles in black and white. And I just suddenly understood that make the connection with the text and the text meaning of the textile.
Yeah.
I mean, the textiles are language. Textiles has a lot of information, and covering the designs and just leaving the shapes where the embroidery used to be, it just makes a statement about the code.
Yeah.
It is a language, but there's something also interesting about the history of the huipiles, because when the colonial times, when the Spanish came to this part of the world and they found people used to wear this amazing and beautiful huipiles with all this information about themselves. It was an identity piece because it tells about who they were. They were son of this person with animals and land. So they remove the thing. They force them to cover those identities signs. So it's also about that. So in both pieces, the colonization is very present in a way of just, I think it's very interesting to find out where a tradition starts and where the syncretic thing happens.
Yes, of course. And you create a white and black piece, but at the same time, why did you decide to maintain the red color in the penachos? What does that mean for you, Tania?
I love that question, Gabriela, because I love stories and anecdotes. And this, I have to say, it's because El Maestro Marcos Andrete, the artisan, when I was convincing him to make this black and white penacho for me, he said, okay, I agree to remove all the colors, but not the red, because the red represents the blood. And there's nothing alive without blood. So you need a little bit of blood in your penacho, because if not, it's not going to be alive. And this is just super powerful. And I work a lot with colors and the meaning of colors and the symbolic part of the colors, and the red mostly. I did a several projects related with grana cochinilla, this pigment, which it's extracted from the cactuses. And it has a lot of ritual connections. And when he mentioned it about the red, it was, yes, of course, he's right. And as well, this idea of an object which is a symbol, which has life. No, it's alive. It's not. It's alive because it passes through the body, and because the same object can be alive through the materials. I think so. Yeah.
Well, at the same time, you are creating the memory of identity through an exploration of time, place, and territory, right? And I think this is amazing too, Tania. And well, time flies, Tania.
Oh my God, I know.
I would like to ask you to finalize this amazing analysis of your work. What is the role of the audience in this kind of piece? Do they have an important part in your work?
Well, yes, in my work, in many of my work, yes. In this particular piece, I believe this is a more contemplative piece. As a ritual itself. I mean, I've seen people just been watching the video for like several times, like in a continuum, and it's like I don't know, like ¿cómo se dice cuando meditas? Like a very meditative.
Meditation, a ritual.
It's a meditation and invites the people to just follow the rhythm of the breaths of the dancers. So what happened is a kind of symbiosis, or you start tuning your own breathing to them. So probably that's the way I try to connect with the audience, just to vibe next to the other one. And it's what the piece wanted to tell. Is like the bow primarily, it's a movement to celebrate the difference of the other, and as well put attention in the how to say, when they are the same but they have differences.
Yes, to being respectful, to celebrate diversity, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is amazing, Tania. Well, we will open the Q&A session. Jorge is the curatorial assistant, and he can answer the question from our audience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jorge. I'll be moderating the Q&A really quickly. So if you haven't already, please send in a question or two, but I can get the ball rolling with a question myself. Maybe we can backtrack a little bit to your process as an artist. You have a very robust process. You do research, site visits. So my question is, what usually comes first for you when you start to conceptualize a new work? Is it through research that you find your ideas, or do you have an intuitive direction that leads your research?
No, you know, that's what I enjoy very much, the site-specific projects. When I receive an invitation or a commission to work in a specific place, I started with research, definitely. And if I found something, some story that gets my mind or my heart on it, then I accept. So I get deep into the, I don't start a project thinking about what I'm going to do as a result, like as a piece of art, but with the research, which is like a half of the whole process, and is where magic happens. I believe that research is a very creative moment of the art creation, of course, and the decisions we took and we take while we are researching. Let's say this image next has to be in black and white, and then we add some reference to the black and white binary criteria or notation, for example. notation and code, it's like a very important word in all the process, in any of my projects, because there's always this translation. If I found something which is a code or a formula or a drawing with lines, I always like asking myself how that will be translated into music or into light, or into material, right? And then materials came just in the perfect moment when I need to start to making poner manos a la obra, like putting my hands on the work, no? And as well the collaborations. Yeah,
definitely. Paola asks about the Diego Rivera mural. Could you talk about how that influenced this specific piece and what is the name of that mural? So I'll go ahead and shift back to that, if I'm able to.
Oh, I'm very sorry because I don't know what's the name of the mural. I don't have it in
La civilización totonaca.
Ahí está. Yes, yeah, and yeah, it was not like precisely part of my research. Actually, my research started with the last image we were seeing, which was the photo of Amalia Hernandez ballet, the Amalia Hernandez dance company. And that's a photo in a book from the 50s of the company performing the Danza de los Quetzales in Palacio de Bellas Artes. And I found it in this book, and it was published in black and white. So that image was super important for me because that was the first take again. Like I retook I put that image in my mind, and then I start doing the research on the whole dance and the colors. But this was definitive for me, more than the Diego Rivera. And of course, Diego Rivera and of course the codices were part of the whole research. I start finding these hairdresses and all these beautiful garments, which are symbols in the dance, and many other references, not precisely the Diego Rivera.
Yeah.
Another question that I have here is, there's a clear effort in a lot of your pieces to reinsert narrative, memory, or history into a contemporary setting. Do you think art has the capacity to create more empathy and expand consciousness?
Of course, it has the capacity of expand consciousness, and I hope so. I mean, this is the language that I have, that I can use in my life for doing that. So I hope that it works in that direction. I can see, I'm looking for the question in the Q&A, but I'm not seeing that. But how was the first part of the question?
Sorry, it was a question that I wrote, and it's there's a clear effort in a lot of your pieces to reinsert a narrative or memory or history into a contemporary setting. So I guess the question is, like, how does taking an event and reinserting it into a contemporary setting, what are you attempting to accomplish with that?
Well, just bringing histories here again, just like pulling them from whatever they are and just discuss them again. I have another body of work which is related with remaking technologies from the past, but it's all the time acknowledging or bringing the attention to things that has been forgotten. So it is a way of speaking in terms of art for me to discuss this temporal moment between memory and the reenactment of the memory, or the commemoration of a memory in a shape of or a video piece or a sculpture or a machine. It depends. But yeah.
And then another question is, obviously having a relationship to the artisans was really important in Reverencia. How important is having a personal relationship to the different parts of your art in your other work?
Oh, it's the whole thing. In all my work, my work is about collaboration, actually, and because I moved in different disciplines, and I'm not a specialist of anything. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a musician. I used to be a writer, though, but part of the what makes the work richer and with different points of view, which is very important, is the eyes and the hearts of many people, of all the people that collaborate in the pieces. So since the very beginning is a research, is based in research, but then once I start to, I like putting together ideas of pieces or scripts that comes from that research, as well, I start thinking, who is gonna be the person, or what knowledge I need to make this happen? Mm-hmm. And it's a summa, how to say it? It's a sum of knowledge. The pieces are like that. And I understood that since 2002, the first time I worked with someone else that was not part of the art world. It was a person in Tijuana that was a specialist in making the tapiceria, how to say that, upholstery, how to say that word?
Yes, upholstery.
Upholstery of cholo cars. And I asked him to make a sofa for me. And he said, like, I don't make sofas, I don't make furniture. Come on, you have the knowledge to do that. So I insisted a lot. We had discussions and have fun discussions. And he ended up doing this amazing piece, like a kind of sofa, sculptural sofa for me. And he was amazed. He said, I'm very thankful because I knew that I had the knowledge to make this, but I never did besides what I always did, like upholstery, yes. But now he said, I know that I'm capable to do anything. So that's what is important whenever I work with others. And it's always as well, I try to push them towards moving far from the comfort zone, to be more creative and to play more and to have joy in the process. So yeah, joy is very important for my work as well. I mean, there's something that I said, that if I'm feeling uncomfortable with some kind of work or something that I have in progress, it's because it's not right. So just move ahead.
Okay.
There's another question here from the audience and a comment. It says, I love the clean aspect of the white screen that highlights the penache and beauty of the contemporary dance, a union of history and the present. I also imagine the dance in front of different Latin American backgrounds. And they list Teotihuacan, Machu Picchu, etc., and capturing the viewers' reactions. Is this something that you imagined when creating these pieces?
No, my intention was to isolate the dancers in that white atmosphere, because I wanted to precisely frame that geometry that happens in the video. I needed to go in both directions simultaneously. In one way, doing the ritual and participating the audience, the ritual and the symbolism of the whole dance. But in the other hand, I wanted to frame that moment of abstraction as well. So, but in the video, in the short fragment that we've seen before of the dancers with the traditional colorful garments, I bring them. We decided to do it in a location that was in front of a lagoon, and regularly in these times they're performing in a scenario, which is very noisy and noisy in terms of visual noise. Mm-hmm. And in this case, being in the middle of the nature changed the whole movement, the whole full perspective of the dance. and as well the reflections in the same metallic parts of the garment, which reflects the water on it. But moving the dancers from reverencia to pre-Hispanic sites was never my intention, because I don't want to create other kind of narratives, because those dances never happen in front of, I mean, the quetzales is not, it was not danced like that in front of the ruinas, no, the ruins. Yes.
Let's see if we have another question here.
One question more.
I think those were all the questions. Yeah.
I will add something, which I believe
Definitely.
it's important as well. The fact that these traditional dances, even though they have been transformed during all these years and they are shaped to be presented as a spectacle, as well, there are a very important form of resistance. It's a political statement to hold or to have a hand in our traditions and have a hand to the future. And I think that we need to find a way to interweave our stories in this way.
Yeah.
No?
Yes, Tania, thank you so much. You are an inspiration.
Thank you, Gabriela.
Thank you for your time and for your generosity.
Thank you to all the audience of the Museum of Latin American Art, and thank you, Gabriela, for this beautiful conversation. Jorge and Solimar, thank you for all the technical behind this, and Jorge for your questions. Gabi, we keep in touch.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.